On this episode of Livin the Dream, Captain Jimmy and Luiza traveled to Old Bahama Bay to meet up with Who's Your Daddy fishing team and reel in some massive Bahamian wahoo.
What a fish, what a way to start it. Woo-hoo-hoo! There he is, good fish, Luiza. What a fish, Luiza! Woo-wee! What a fight.
This is Livin the Dream with Captain Jimmy Nelson.
Welcome to the Bahamas.
Presented by Salt Life. Live salty.
Good fish. That's what she was fighting all that time. Man, what a fish. Wow. Doesn't get any better than Baja. Yeah, boy. That's a kingfish right there. Woo! We flew from Florida to Grand Bahama via Apex, and there's a lot of reasons that I like flying through Apex. One of the main reasons is that you don't have to wait in any lines at all. So you're not waiting in all the lines at the airport, you don't have to worry about checking your bags, doing all of that other stuff. You can literally just pull your vehicle right up to where the plane is, start unloading your gear, and putting it on the plane. The flight time is not very bad at all, flying from Florida over to Grand Bahama. Depending on where you fly from, if you fly from Fort Lauderdale area, it's only like a 20-minute flight. Over in the Melbourne area where we flew out of, I think it was about a 40-minute flight, but it's not bad at all. I mean, it's a very quick flight. You're the only one on the plane. Another one of the big benefits of flying with Apex is that you get to fly into the private landing strip that's only about 5 minutes from Old Bahama Bay. So you're right there by the resort when you land. There's not a lot of travel involved, and it's just convenient. On this particular trip, we came down to do some wahoo fishing, and we hooked up with Who's Your Daddy fishing team. All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Livin the Dream. Today we're out in Grand Bahama with Bimini Kid, Nick Wood, and Who's Your Daddy fishing team. And today we're trolling for wahoo. Can't really turn the handle much right now because we got one on, and I'm just starting to be able to get enough pull on them to be able to bring them in closer to me. But that's what it's all about this trip, guys. We're going for wahoo and pretty much wahoo only. So we'll see what we can catch out here. See how many we can come up with. We're trolling a spread with Mr. Biggs and the wahoo whackers, and I believe this one hit a Mr. Big. We'll see when it comes in here. When you're fighting one of these wahoos with a bent butt rod like this, you want to leave the rod in the rod holder and just turn the handle and just steadily bring that fish in. Won't get any slack that way, of course, and as you see, we're leaving the boat in gear. Keep things moving the right direction. Behind the wheel up there's Captain Rudy. He's making things happen for us. We're kind of zigzagging in and off the ledge right here out on the north end of Grand Bahama. And it's a pretty flat, calm day. It's my kind of fishing when it's for wahoo fishing, because a lot of times when we're out here wahoo fishing, it's pretty rough. So this is a nice change in pace for us, that's for sure. Getting him closer. It's taking a while. This is the long rod here. This one was out about 100 yards, and he took about 100 more. Oh, there it is. Decent fish, buddy. Oh, yeah. Got him. Got him. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's grab that fish and show these guys what they hit there. Want to pop that out? Yep. All right, guys, and those teeth right there are the reason that we use this AFW cable. This is 400-pound cable, and those teeth right there are super sharp, and that's why we use it. Look at those things, man. Look at the mouth on that. What a fish, what a way to start it. Welcome to the Bahamas. Here's another look at that wahoo whacker. Good lure, man, look at that. Took a chunk out of the skirt. That's why I replaced the skirt so much, because they will chew them up. Red and black, did it this morning.
Livin the Dream with Captain Jimmy Nelson is made possible by Salt Life. Live salty. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler. Sea Deck, your boat deserves Sea Deck. ACR Electronics, the science of survival. And by American Fishing Wire.
There are so many amenities at Old Bahama Bay that makes it very convenient when you're there. So if you're not out fishing or diving, you could be playing basketball on their basketball court. They have a weight room, which is really cool. So you have that on site so you can stay in shape while you're there. They have a really long white sand beach that has beach chairs on it and a volleyball court. And right beside that's a shuffleboard court. And of course, they have a beautiful pool. They have a really nice tiki bar outside as well, which is kind of like a hot hangout spot during the day. And they have a really nice restaurant at night as well, so they have a couple different restaurants on site. They also have a big marina that accommodates huge yachts all the way down to smaller center consoles and just about everything in between. You get gas right there on site, bait, everything you need is right there on the grounds at Old Bahama Bay. And of course, the main reason that I come to Old Bahama Bay is the fishing.
Back offshore after Jimmy landed the first catch of the day, Nick of Who's Your Daddy Fishing Team has just hooked into a local menace.
Right after I landed that wahoo, Nick hooked into something pretty good. After Nick landed that barracuda, we got set back up and ready to put the lures back out. So the morning started off pretty good because I got a wahoo right away, and then Nick hooked into a barracuda, and I turned around to do something on the boat, and then we get a double. The weather's picking up some, and so is the fishing. Just got a double header. And these feel like the right ones because I can't hardly move the handle.
Oh, those are real ones, buddy.
Oh yeah. Should be 3 in the boat already. There it is. All right. Luiza ended up hooking into another barracuda, but it seemed like I had something a little better on. There it is, watch your feet.
That's a wahoo wannabe right
man,
there.
hope you don't tear up that lure too bad. That one's been a hot one.
That's a Spanish wahoo.
Still working on this one. I think this is the right thing. Man, we got some rollers out here. Went from being flat calm to probably about 2 to 4s. Supposed to pick up the 7-footers later today. So who knows how rough it's gonna get. But we're working hard on these fish, that's for sure. Trying to get as many as we can in, but we can still be out here trolling. This one's also on the wahoo whacker. It's been the magic bait. We've been trolling a spread of just about everything. We have some Yozuri Bonitas out, some Mr. Bigs, but the wahoo whacker is what's getting nailed. It's what's getting whacked. Woo! Yeah, he is not coming in quick by any means, and this is the long line, so the shotgun was definitely the one to get hit. It's happened twice now on the long line. World record on wahoo is 185 pounds. I believe the Florida record's around 140 or so. So they grow big, but the average fish we're catching around here is anywhere from 25 to 60 pounds typically in the Bahamas. But they get some monsters too. I ended up having a nice wahoo on, man, and when I saw that fish, I could tell it was a good one. Pulled that fish in the boat and realized that it got bit by something, either a big barracuda or a shark, or something took a chunk out of that fish. Good job. Got a chunk taken out of him, but that's our fish. And that's what is happening on right there, the wahoo whacker. Variety of colors, the black and red's been doing really well, and now the dolphin one, and these skirts are getting tore up, but that's what we want, man. And look at this. Shark got a hold of his tail, big old fatty, and he's all busted up. Not what we wanted to happen, but the fish came in And he's barely holding on right there.
And then we got another hit, and Luiza said this time it felt like the right one.
And I think he got a good one.
I think so. Jimmy got a nice one earlier that got attacked by a shark, I believe. But we still got it in the boat. Hopefully this one will come in intact. All right, that's the lead right there.
Oh, there he is, there he is.
Look at those stripes. Get him,
There
Jimmy.
he is, good fish, Luiza. Look at this. He spit the lure as it came in, guys. As that fish came in the boat, it fell right out of his mouth. That's the wahoo whacker. It was a green one. The skirt got all tore up, and we put a purple skirt on it. So that worked, and let me show you Luiza's fish here. Monster wahoo, Luiza! Woo-hoo-hoo!
That was a huge wahoo that Luiza caught, man. I mean, that was a great fish. That's the size fish we were after.
Oh my God.
Having a heck of a time holding on to your fish. It's a slippery one. Threw that lure as soon as it was gaffed.
Yeah.
And came in the boat. What a fish, Luiza!
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Woo-hoo!
excited. And I won the fight against the sharks. We got the fish intact in
Yes.
the boat.
Without having the sharks
Yes.
get it.
Got it.
Unreal.
Wow.
I had to throw my Cresty gloves on to be able to hold this thing. This gets so darn slippery. But what a fish!
Nice
He's got
fish.
some weight to him. Holy cow. Look at that thing, guys.
Lots of really good sashimi tonight. They put up a fight, that's for sure.
Livin the Dream with Captain Jimmy Nelson is made possible by C&H Lures. Be a winner with C&H Lures. Plantation on Crystal River, the place to stay and play along Florida's nature coast. Yozuri, fish the best. Cayman Islands Angling Club. Come experience sport fishing in paradise. And by Tsunami, awesome tackle.
So we hooked up with Keith from West Indy Ecology Tours again to go out for some lobster, and he brought us not too far from the resort, and what he said would be the best way to get them is just to throw a rope out behind the boat and to just tow me behind the boat until I seen some antennas hanging out of a hole or I seen a coral with some lobsters on it. So Keith's trolling me around and I'm looking through the water trying to see lobsters, and all you're really looking for is just some little antennas, like I said, sticking out of a hole. Sometimes you can see the whole lobster. I even seen a couple this day just walking out in the wide open, which you usually don't see till the evening or the end of the day, but there was a lot of lobster moving around this time of year. We are able to use a Hawaiian sling when we're in the Bahamas, so it's legal to shoot the lobsters, which is great because it does make it a lot easier than sticking your arms up into corals and everything else where there could be lionfish or sea urchins or something else that'll stick you and hurt you. So that is a convenience, but I really don't use it that much because I'm used to grabbing them with just my hands. So I would use the Hawaiian sling more as like a tickle stick to kind of just tickle the lobsters out of their rock or their hole, and usually just set it on the ground and just grab the lobsters with my hands. We saw quite a few rocks scattered around on that flat area there, and in those rocks were lobsters. They were hiding up under the holes. There were some just up under little ledges. We saw some in some of the grass ledges, but that rock area that we came up on really seemed to be holding a lot of them. I'll usually shoot a lobster when there's several in a rock and they're really hard to grab, or if they're way up in it, but most of the time I will just reach in and grab them. But that Hawaiian sling does come in very handy if there's multiple lobsters there that you don't want to spook. So I see that lobster walking around, so I decide to go ahead and shoot him. and then I see a second lobster walking around, so I went ahead and shot 2 at the same time on the sling. Luiza was swimming around with me and she spotted a big lobster in a hole. Luiza came down from the front of that lobster, pulled back and shot him perfect right in his head. And that was one of the biggest lobsters of the day.
And now, let's head back offshore where the wahoo are practically jumping in the boat. Before the break, Luiza landed a sizably tenacious wahoo.
Look at those stripes. Get him,
There
Jimmy.
he is. Good fish, Luiza. Monster wahoo, Luiza. Woo-hoo-hoo!
A storm approaches, but Jimmy and crew push for a few more before heading back to Old Bahama Bay.
Shortly after that, I hooked into a dolphin.
Look at that fish. All right, guys. Well, we got a dolphin. We thought we had a cuda on, so we weren't really messing with it much, and it was a dolphin that hit that wahoo whacker. All right, we'll add that to the dinner list.
We ended up getting our lines all tangled up, so we just grabbed the fish and slung it in the boat.
All right, there he is. Keep that hook out of my face. Got wire around my hand, gotta be real careful with that. I wouldn't suggest doing that normally, but we had to do what we had to do to get him in. He was all tangled up here. And there he goes. All right, this guy does not like cameras. Camera shy. Look at him, still going. Just a crazy dolphin. This is what dolphin fishing's about right here. This craziness. Look at this thing, man. He has just beat himself up. He knows he's going in the frying pan. Look at him, he don't want to slow down. They hit wahoo lures too, huh? Woo-wee. What a fight this fish is putting up. He don't want to slow down. There he is, man. Nice dolphin out here with Who's Your Daddy?
Fishing was going pretty darn good, but it started to rain all around us and the clouds were moving in, so we decided to go ahead and move the lines out of the way, and while we were doing that, I ended up getting hit by a tuna. I was fighting that fish in the rain, so we didn't really have any of the cameras going except a couple that could be out there while it was raining. Oh man, I love catching tuna. Tuna's fantastic to eat. I love sashimi. I never hardly ever eat tuna cooked. It's usually always raw or in sushi.
With a few bonus catch in the cooler, the crew heads in to take shelter from the storm back at Old Bahama Bay. Before the break, Jimmy and Luiza joined Keith of West End Ecology Tours for some lobster diving, and the catch was enough to stuff the angle cooler full.
All right, guys. Well, here's some of the lobsters that we caught today out of Old Bahama Bay with Keith. We could have got a lot more. There was a bunch of them out there. You'll see it on the video how many we left behind. And here's the rest of them right here on top of the angle cooler. Got quite a few of them we're gonna bring back for dinner tonight. That's some good sized ones too. And we got Luiza right behind me over here starting to feed the stingrays with Keith. They're coming in real quick. You guys can do the same thing. Check the link out below if you want to come in and do this.
Visit westendecologytours.com to book your expedition today and travel to Sandy Key, a remote Bahamian island, to dive for lobster and feed the stingrays.
There's so many stingrays that hang around the island, and they're there because Keith goes there pretty much every day and feeds them. It's his normal routine on his tours to go to the island and feed the stingrays.
hard part you're touching
Yeah.
is the prehistoric dinosaur part. These
Right.
animals have been on Earth 150 million years.
Wow.
These are just the descendants of those 150 million-year-old creatures.
Wow.
And most people don't know that, but these are actually sharks. You didn't know that?
I guess I like sharks.
They're cousins to the sharks.
There's also quite a few sharks around that island as well. It's juvenile sharks, not larger ones, so they're there for the same reason that the stingrays are there. They just want a handout. They want a free meal, so they'll come up in the mix and they'll get around the boat waiting for something to be handed out to them as well. Once those sharks get a little bit larger and they can start catching things on their own a little bit easier, you don't see them around the island anymore. It's only the smaller juvenile sharks that you'll see around the island.
A lot of these stingrays, I watched them being born, and I saw them from little pups.
There are so many stingrays that hang out around that island, and again, that's mainly because Keith does feed them almost every single day, and it's a very mutually beneficial relationship between Keith and the stingrays. Keith has something to bring tourists out to enjoy and to see on the island out there in the Bahamas, and at the same time, the stingrays are getting a free meal.
These are all female stingrays, every single one of them. I haven't met a male stingray yet, which is absolutely incredible.
They're not the same kind that Steve Irwin dealt with, but they are a lot of fun, they are gentle, and again, they're there just for a free meal. And when you have someone like Keith that's there with you to educate you a little bit on the stingrays and what takes place there, it really helps you have a better time on that island for that experience.
For more fishing and diving action, follow along on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Captain Jimmy Nelson. Livin the Dream with Captain Jimmy Nelson was brought to you by Salt Life. Live salty.